Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Monday. And first and foremost, as always, want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. Now, with all that being said, we all know that the Los Angeles Lakers shall embark up on the season on tomorrow night, taking on the Golden State Warriors, and we'll watch them receive their rings, and hopefully it will have a profound effect on them to come out and play their hardest and see what they can do to be able to compete in this following campaign for the 2022-2023 campaign to be the NBA champion. But we got a whole lot to talk about in regards to that, and I'm going to get to all that in just a minute. But first, let me just get this out the way. My Tennessee Volunteers, I don't know if any of you are college football fans, and I know we don't talk a lot about that on this channel because this is all about the NBA, but I just want to put that out there. My Tennessee Vols finally broke their 15-game win streak, and I feel bad because I meant to tell y'all on Friday they was disrespecting Tennessee with an 8.5-point spread, giving us 8.5 points, and I took advantage of that, and I did quite well. So I just wanted to get that out the way. If you can tell, I lost a little bit of my voice just screaming so loud because it was so intense, man. If y'all didn't see the game, please go back and check it out. It was probably the best college football game that I've ever seen. But, baby, VFL, we back, baby. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, back to what I'm saying. There's news and notes regarding Dennis Schröder, his finger injury. I'm not sure if all of you are aware of that. So the Lakers are hoping that this isn't long term. They're going to look at an MRI to make sure that Dennis Schröder is going to be ready to go and can fully participate in team activities going forward. Because as we all know, they said Russell Westbrook, when he came off the bench Friday night, that he did, in fact, have a slight injury to his hamstring. Is going to be day-to-day. Maybe the Lakers are just using that as an excuse to bring Russell Westbrook off the bench and maybe bring him along. But with the injury to Dennis Schröder, that's not good either. So the Lakers, are always dealing with injury bugs. And here we are again, prior to the tip-off of the season, already having some injury bugs. But anyway, man, let me get all that out the way because really, I know on Friday, I had said some people said they wanted me to talk about the Redeem team as far as how they said it was some kind of blemish on LeBron's record. And now you got people saying that Kobe is better than LeBron. I'm not one of those people because, if you've seen my channel, you see where I ranked all the players of all time. I still have LeBron James as number one. But anyway, I can just give you various different reasons, but I want to give a breakdown a little bit of the documentary because I was able to go ahead and take a look at that. So first and foremost, let's just get this out of the way. For all y'all people with the smooth brains who may not even know this, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were the executive producers of this documentary. LeBron James wanted to highlight Kobe. He wanted to highlight Kobe and show his impact on the team. Because guess what? LeBron James and Kobe forged and formed a relationship with one another. And Kobe Bryant, regardless, all you haters, all you people who say that you Lakers fans and didn't welcome LeBron James to the team, which I thought was really crazy in the first place by you not welcoming somebody to your team who has, been so successful in the league and been able to take every team that he's ever played on to a finals, especially coming off 8 years of not having success in those past years leading up to LeBron James coming to the Lakers. The Lakers hadn't even made the playoffs in several years, and the town of Los Angeles was slowly becoming a Clippers town, believe it or not, because you had Lob City, you had Kawhi, you had everything going on, which was pointing towards the Clippers being the most dominant team, in LA. Excuse me, y'all. So anyway, you had all that going on. But what I would like to focus on is, they want to talk about LeBron James and say, that he is not the level of Kobe because Kobe had to come in and instill discipline in the team and was the alpha dog. And without Kobe, they wouldn't have won. Let me get a whole lot of things out the way first. So first of all, I got out the way that LeBron James and D Wade are the ones who executive produced this documentary. So just in case you guys don't know, executive producer means you are in complete control totally of what is the last thing to make the cut. People direct, people, production, production directors, film editors, all these people that go into a production of a film or a documentary. But at the end of the day, the executive producers are the ones who are going to decide ultimately what it is that the audience is to perceive and to watch. And that is what LeBron James did. And he highlighted Kobe Bryant. Because guess what? He's not a hater, and he's comfortable with himself and where he was at the time. So let's just hop into some things that we call facts here. So let's just give a brief history of the Olympics. So as you all know, and I'm just touching for some of those who don't, for many years the NBA, didn't allow. The Olympics didn't allow professional players into the Olympics. Well, the USA didn't, but there were other teams, European teams that did, right? Where they were coming into the Olympics. But for many years, the NBA, the U.S. Olympic team was just made up of college players, which a lot of these college players went on to be great NBA players as well. So you have to realize, speaking of which, they touched on that in the Redeem Team documentary with the 1972 team with Doug Collins and how they lost and how they felt they got cheated, which I would say they did, and how they even showed that to LeBron and showed that to the other team to make them realize what it is and how important it was for them to win and how they didn't want to go and feel the agony of defeat. And, that team had lost to a Russian team, and these were college players at the time. And we know Doug Collins went on to have a great NBA career and a great broadcast career. But again, let's name another time where the U.S. lost in the Olympics was in 1988 when they brought home the bronze, when they still had college players. And they had some great players. Stacey Augmon was on their team. Mitch Richmond was on their team. Hershey Hawkins was on their team. And none other than the Admiral David Robinson was on their team. And they still failed. But they was college players. So then you ushered in the time of NBA players coming, right? So when the NBA players came, it was like, you know what? Let's put this squad together. We're going to go over here and show out and show them what it's all about and highlight this talent, right? So at that particular time in 92, I think, when the original Dream Team came along, no other team had been established with professional players. So now you just didn't get NBA players. You weren't just getting run of the mill. You didn't get Kevin Duckworth. You didn't get even a Joe Dumars. You understand what I'm saying? Or Dennis Rodman. You didn't even get a lower tier NBA player at the time. You know what I mean? You got the best of the best, all Hall of Famers on that particular team. So now you had that in 92, then you had that in 96, to where you have Shaquille O'Neal's and, Magic Johnson. You had Larry Bird and Charles Barkley and, Hakeem. Just all these great players, that Karl Malone, that were on this team, John Stockton, so they were going against teams that weren't even nearly on the level of what these teams are now, because you have to think, and I wish I would have did this before I started filming and recording this particular video that we're discussing now, is how many of the opposing teams that the U.S. faced had NBA players on the team. That is very important, because none of the teams that the original Dream Team faced any other player that was in the NBA. You had Tony Kukoc, who at the time people were scouting and thought he was good enough to play in the NBA. But out of the whole world that they faced, only one player that they felt by scouts was good enough to come to the NBA, because they just weren't on that level. So now you're talking about the upper echelon of all time, the upper echelon of players going against the very lower echelons of players. You understand what I'm saying? So now let's fast forward. So now you get to 2000, you got the same thing, right? Steadily great NBA players coming along, knocking out the foreign teams, but the foreign teams are getting better and better, as we can see, because now you're starting to have the Peja Stojakovic's of the world, the Gladi Divacs of the world, just the Arvydas Sabonis's of the world, just a lot of foreign competition that started to come to the NBA, because they're getting better and better. Their teams are getting better. The sport is growing. And because of what the Dream Team did, it just brought such attention to the sport that it grew it. It grew it phenomenally as a global thing, to where, the teams, a lot of countries started playing basketball. I can tell you a personal experience of mine. I was, in the Army, and I was stationed over in Germany, and they used to be hooping. You understand what I'm saying? I couldn't believe it. And then I was in Bosnia Herzegovina, down deployed, and we had to go hoop. And I'm telling you what, I was stationed with some dudes from New York, from LA, from all over, the South. And we'd be out there hooping every day because there was nothing else to do, to take your time. It was almost like being locked down because there was so many landmines there that, if you was to go out and leave posts, you could very well lose your life. So we tried to stay still where we could, just hoop where we found a safe place we can hoop. But I'm telling you, the local Bosnia-Herzegovinians came in, and when I'm telling you, they was physical like none other. They sent picks, screens hard as hell. We just out here hooping. We wasn't even organized. We just, like you playing 21 or whatever, then we play quick 2-on-2, 3-on-3, little half court or whatever. Next thing you know, here they come like a well-oiled machine. So what I'm saying is the sport started to grow in popularity, and then now look at what you have right now. Look at what Giannis is doing. Look at what Luka is doing. Look at Joel Embiid. Look at all these foreign players who are really dominating the sport in the NBA. Even if you look at the past 3 years, MVP have all been foreign players. You've never seen that before. So my point is, the level of competition was beginning to rise. So now let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to the 2004 Olympics that everybody wanted to give LeBron James hell for. So we said the Olympics was when? 2004. When did LeBron get drafted? 2003. And LeBron James was drafted in 2003. I want to say he was in high school. Yeah, he hadn't gone to college. He hadn't played for a great coach. He hadn't played in a great system. He played in high school, man. And then he went to that and, of course, went to the NBA and had instant success, even though his rookie year they did not make the playoffs, which, of course, everybody wants to say, look what Jordan did. But, of course, they don't look at they had below 5. Those Bulls teams had below 500 record, like only won 40 games and went to the playoffs. We're not going to talk about all that. But anyway, didn't make the playoffs, but he's a rookie. So now you got a rookie with a team that they just threw together, right? So now you talk about the team that they threw together. These other teams have been growing, playing together. They have they very much, popular teams as far as them coming together and being growing continuity and chemistry with one another and playing professionally over there in these European leagues, and these players having NBA experience. Now, with all that being said, the USA team, they just felt like, oh, we've been doing this. We'll just keep throwing teams together because, hell, we the USA. This is what we can do. So everybody wants to throw dirt on LeBron James for that 2004 bronze medal that they won, right? Like I just said, they had already won bronze in 88 when you had David Robinson, Mitch Richmond, Stacey Altman, Hershey Hawkins, and other future NBA players, right? But with this particular team, you had Allen Iverson, who considered by many to be in the top 15 or 20 players of all time. Some even dare have him in the top 10. Not me personally, but, just because of his efficiency. But this was not a very well thrown together team. Then you had Marbury. So you had AI Marbury, who was very ball dominant. And they didn't, they didn't give up a whole lot of minutes to the younger players that were on this team. And then it was coached by Larry Brown, who was stuck in his old school ways. So you got AI, Marbury, Amari Stoudemire, and Tim Duncan. So now, where's the shooting? Where's the shooting? AI, like I said, not the most efficient. He's able to break down defenses, but who could he kick it to? Who was open? Where was the shooting? Then you got Sean Marion, who was the matrix, who could get to the bucket and all that. But this wasn't just a team you could throw together and have instant chemistry. So now let's talk about the rest. AI, Marbury, Stoudemire, Tim Duncan. Okay, those were the vets. And other than AI and Tim Duncan, I dare say that wasn't the cream of de la creme of the NBA at the time. That wasn't Big Shaq. That wasn't Kobe or Shaq at the time, who could have came in and maybe dominated because they had already had this experience and cohesiveness together. So now you got Okafor, Lamar Odom, and Richard Jefferson. Come on, fam. So then after you get that second tier out the way, now you got your young players, LeBron, D-Wade, Melo, and Boozer. And I'm sure D-Wade and LeBron probably really regretted even going to that Olympics because they didn't get all the playing time. People want to blame a lot of things on them when in actuality, they just weren't prepared. They were thrown together. And then as you saw in the documentary, they just had to stay at that ship the whole time. They didn't get a chance to participate and have fun in any of the activities because of all the things that were going on as far as politics in the world. So they didn't even have a chance to build any chemistry. And as a result, they lost and it weighed heavily on them, right? So then you had them coming together. They're a little bit older in '06, and we know they played in the World Games and ultimately failed at that, even though at this time LeBron now is, 22, 23 years old. Still not that old. And, of course, these other teams have great players that's in the NBA and have cohesion, and they play together all the time. And, of course, as we all know, they play by their own rules. It's 10-minute quarters. There's no goaltending. There's a lot of different small nuances, things that they could do. So, anyway, not trying to make excuses. So, now I want to get more into the Kobe deal, right? So you bring in a Kobe Bryant and you say, okay, without Kobe, they wouldn't have won. I don't think that's necessarily true, because by the time you get to 2008, now you have LeBron James, who has gone to the finals once in 2007. He had been to the finals once. At this point, he's a little bit older, more mature, and more ready to go, albeit they did lose in the FIBA championships barely and had to go in and qualify, before Kobe. Now, I will say this, Kobe most certainly led by example by that first day, instilling the discipline in them and how it trickled down here, because it went from Kobe, then LeBron James and D Wade fell suit, and once they were the leaders and everybody else fell in line with them, they was ready to go. But, they still weren't taking it as serious, and that's something I will give Kobe. But Kobe was at a point in his career where he had been ostracized by the league. He had the rape allegations. He had lost a lot of endorsements. He had fallen off in the NBA. People want to compare Kobe to LeBron. Just two totally separate players. I think Kobe got a killer instinct and got the heart, and I do have Kobe in my top 5. If y'all haven't seen it, please go back and look at my countdown. I'm not disrespecting Kobe Bryant by any means, but when you're talking about efficiency, he's just not there when it comes to LeBron James and what he can do as far as his efficient numbers. So I know a lot of people want to talk about, oh, it's not about stats, it's about heart, or it's about rings, or whatever you want to say. But you got to realize Kobe Bryant, when he first came to the league, he was coming off the bench. He wasn't on the level where LeBron was just yet when he first came to the league. Now, you even said, I had heard out of Shaquille O'Neal's own mouth that Penny Hardaway came. If you hadn't heard that interview, Penny Hardaway came right into the league ready. He had played college at Memphis. He was ready. I'm a big Penny fan, being from the West 10 myself. You understand me, was a big fan of Penny back then, and I knew what he was capable of doing. But at the end of the day, he came in ready. Shaq said Kobe just didn't come in ready like that. He sat behind Eddie Jones and he got ready and he got to that point. Not saying he wouldn't have been if he would have got the chance, but we all seen some of the things Kobe did early on in his rookie campaign and his sophomore campaign before he was ultimately ready to make that next step, even as Shaq was making that next step. But of course, Shaq and Kobe was that perfect combo. Now, if you put a young LeBron with a young Shaq like that, you can't tell me it's not going to be the same results. Maybe even better, because LeBron is not going to be the type who be all in Shaq face and arguing and yelling and, some of the personal things that went on, I think maybe would have been avoided with LeBron, because I think he's more non-confrontational, even though he is an alpha male, consider himself as such, has always led teams, and anybody who's ever been around him will attest to that as well. So you can't take away the leadership factor of LeBron either. So him and Kobe, everybody thought, well, this is going to bump heads, but they got along perfectly. And that's what they said during the documentary. You had two alpha males who was able to coexist, kind of like when Magic and Jordan was in the Dream Team. They didn't bump heads. They went at it. They hard in practice. Now, I'm the man. And ultimately, Magic said, now, MJ, you got it now. I'm a little bit older. But had Magic still been a little bit younger, he wouldn't have went out like that to MJ. Plus, considering what Magic was going through health-wise. But at the end of the day, I'm not knocking Kobe Bryant, but my point is, in 2008, during that Olympic run, Kobe Bryant was, 30 years old, had already been to several playoff runs, and had already won 3 championships with Shaquille O'Neal. So, it's a big difference between Kobe being 30 and then LeBron at the time being 19 during that bronze medal round. So when they did come together and play in 2008, Kobe is 30. LeBron is only 24 years old. That's a huge difference. He's coming into his own and he's developing. And, you saw how popular Kobe was even when they was in China. Everybody was going crazy. Kobe. Because he was well known and was way more popular at the time, because worldwide, that is, because he had already won 3 championships with Shaquille O'Neal. And that is what brings you recognition, the championships. And he had already established himself as being the person who was getting the torch from Michael Jordan was Kobe Bryant. But see, then along came LeBron James. And people always say, well, why do people look over Kobe Bryant? Why do they look over Kobe Bryant? Look at LeBron James, and that'll tell you. Look over LeBron James, and people want to say, well, Kobe ain't got LeBron don't got the killer instinct Kobe had. I want to remind everybody, and like I said, I'm not doing this to knock Kobe, but Kobe once asked for a trade from the Lakers too. Kobe wanted to get away from the Lakers. He wanted to go to Chicago or anywhere else because the Lakers weren't putting the pieces around him. The year after Shaq left, Kobe missed the playoffs. They missed the playoffs, and that's just a fact. LeBron missed the playoffs, here recently, and, last year missed the play-in, older in his career. But even I was dare say a prime LeBron did, what happened there just a couple of years ago. I still would consider that a prime LeBron, but Kobe missed the playoffs, and that was prime Kobe. Just because, and that's not a knock on Kobe. That just goes to show you if you don't have the ultimate team in place, then you're not going to be able to be successful. So that's my whole point. So you can't give team accomplishments. Oh, Kobe got 5 rings to LeBron 4, or oh, Kobe this and that, because Kobe really had one of the worst finals performances against Boston in 2010. Where he just put up putrid numbers, but they were still able to win. And I still believe to this day, even though I got much love for Laker Nation, that, Boston Celtics could have won that second championship against the Lakers had it not been for the injury to Kendrick Perkins, because Kendrick Perkins was that anchor. Bynum went out there and put his knee on the line, and because he forced himself to play and wasn't hurt, played through the injury, and Perkins was not, that was really is what gave the edge to the Los Angeles Lakers. And of course, going back to what I was saying about Kobe with Shaq, that the game was played inside out back then. So when you got a game that's played inside out a lot, then of course you're going to benefit of that when you're dealing with probably one of the greatest centers of all time in Shaq. I would say he is a top 3 center of all time, and you playing a game that's played from inside out instead of outside in the way the game is played today. So, like I said, no knock against Kobe, but I'm just trying to put things into context. And now finally, I want to cover, like I said, LeBron was 19 at that bronze medal game. LeBron was only 24 in 08. And then if you really want to break it down, look at they going against people that were already in the NBA. Like I said, when they went against Spain, that was Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol, and I think they had another NBA player and a lot of other teammates on there who were NBA type caliber players. Because even if you look at it, D Wade is what sparked a lot of that in the gold medal game and what's really got them over the hump. Now, if you come back from 2008 and look at 2012, Kobe played on that team, but then you had added Kevin Durant and LeBron James. So you mean to tell me Kobe, LeBron, and Durant, you understand what I'm saying, D Wade, and they had that whole team with Melo and everybody else at this time, very experienced. And guess what? They still only beat Spain by 9 in the gold medal round. And it was very close. And LeBron James is the one who hit the clinching 3 because Spain cut it to 6 with 2 minutes left. And they was on the run. And had LeBron missed that 3, Spain could have went down there, cut it to 4. Who knows what happened? But LeBron hits the 3, pushes it up to 9, and kind of put the foot on their throat at that point. You understand what I'm saying? So, it's just have to put things into context. You can't just look at that and say, oh, look at Kobe. Kobe came in and put the team in check, and without Kobe, they wouldn't have won. Because think about it, they still barely, beat Spain. That still came closer than what they would have liked it to be in 2008. But yes, Kobe was very detrimental to that, because who knows, let's say he wouldn't have came in that discipline and they would have kept bullet whiffing. But you got to realize that was still in the Vegas games when Kobe was doing that. You would think that they would get more discipline, but it was still early on. But that's good that he came in and set the tone. So if was a fifth, we all could be drunk. I'm not taking that away from Kobe. As far as his work and dedication to the game is damn near like none other. But now you can see that in LeBron James. He does that now. And he continues to lead and be in a full sweat early at 5 and 6 in the morning, and the dedication that he's shown to his body to be able to play this long in the league. And that's why I have nothing but great admiration for LeBron James. But to top off everything for everybody who want to keep comparing LeBron and Kobe, I will go with head-to-head performances. I'll say, because you always say, well, what about stats? What, we can't use stats. What can we use? Head-to-head performances can tell a lot. Even though they play different positions, they spent a lot of time guarding one another. But LeBron James has 16 wins to Kobe's 6, which Kobe did have worse teams back then. And we are talking about LeBron when he had some pretty damn good teams. So I'm not knocking that as part of Kobe. But then you look at head-to-head numbers. You had LeBron James, who was scoring, 28 a game to Kobe, 25 a game. LeBron 7.5 rebounds to Kobe, 5 rebounds, and LeBron 7.5 assists to Kobe, 5 assists. So LeBron against Kobe is 28, 7-7. Kobe 25, 5-5. Both of them went out and get theirs, and both of them are hell of a players, and I don't want to take away from it. But anybody who watched that documentary and just came away with a take saying that, oh, this documentary convinced me that Kobe Bryant is somehow better than LeBron James, I just beg to differ. And for all the people who say, well, they never met in the finals because LeBron, lost to Orlando and Kobe turned around and beat that same team. Well, let's just remember, Kobe had a much better Los Angeles Lakers team who had already won a championship prior to and been going deep in the finals. Even though, that Cleveland team had a good defensive team and they won the most regular season games. So I'm not, I still think they fell short and probably could have beat that Orlando team. But Petrie scratched hot, just Dwight Howard played a hell of a game. LeBron James' supporting class completely disappeared. If you go back and look at that series, I promise you, look up their three-point shooting was atrocious. The percentages that they made all year dipped so bad in the playoffs. I don't know if there was the pressure or what, but they failed, and it wasn't on LeBron because if you look at his numbers for that series, they were nothing short of amazing. But if you go back and say, Kobe had the opportunity to meet LeBron James in the finals that year once LeBron had went to Miami the first year, but played Dallas. But remember, Dallas swept Kobe Bryant and those defending champion Los Angeles Lakers. They was back-to-back champions when the Orlando Magic, when Dallas swept them. So had Dallas not swept Kobe and the Lakers, then they would have met up in those finals, and you would have had the Heat against the Lakers, and I dare say I would have took the Heat, who I think would have been a much better team. But that doesn't mean Kobe is better than LeBron or LeBron is better than Kobe. They both are great in their own rights, and they both do a lot of great things themselves. But when you talk about pure athleticism, speed, physicality, to me, all that is tilted in the favor of none other than LeBron James. So we got the season kicking off tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but I just had to get all of that out the way. So, with all that being said, man, I just want y'all to, if you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. And as always, man, it's been your boy B New. I'm saying right on to the real, and much love to these haters. I'm out.